All right. Happy MGTOW day or evening, wherever you are. How's it going, men and MGTOW and all you other men in the manosphere? Pretty sure I'm live right now, but yeah, just kind of hanging out, and I wanted to talk about kind of just another way of articulating MGTOW, or I guess basically depending on depending on there's the manosphere is broken up into TFL and MGTOW and Incel and all this, but to one extent or another, we kind of all agree on the fact that men are kind of screwed. You know what I mean? Whether uh, to what level, whether it's by choice or not. Like I guess and TFLs would consider MGTOWs, as just fooling themselves, but whatever. I don't want, it gets to the point where we're splicing hairs, but one of the kind of the themes is, all these things that we talk about in MGTOW kind of lead to all contribute to hunting jackalope, or another word for it would be hunting snipe, and it's like the carrot on the stick kind of analogy, where you're chasing something that's just not there, and more and more so that has become the case, and I don't think it was as hard to achieve as it is now. I don't believe it was always this way, but it's basically, yeah, it's all these factors that we talk about, and as far as looks and wealth and all the things that you need to be able to attract women and have a family, and then when we and all the things, all the roadblocks that are put in our way to achieve these things now in a gynocentric society. It starts making it, it leads to the narwhal, or the unicorn, or basically the jackalope. And if you ever hang around with hunters, or if you're in family, if you have hunters in your family, a lot of times the older hunters will tease the little kids with about hunting snipe or jackalope. I think when I was a kid, one of my uncles fooled me into believing that jackalopes were real because they had a fake one or something with the antlers on it. I can't remember. I think it was a long time ago. I'm pretty sure, but and then of course, it's the realization that you've been hunting some mythical thing that doesn't exist, that leads to the red pill rage, basically. And and this is what, and some this can cause some, especially these kids that are maybe drugged up and don't have their fathers around, in a I want to say in an extreme situation of that, where some kids being raised by maybe an extremely, I don't want to say liberal because I want to bring politics into it. It's just, there's a lot of I'm just talking about the extreme on the pendulum of our political system. It'll be these liberal single mothers that are like, they trust, they just, I don't know, they sort of trust the sort of social system that's been put in place, the public schools, the counselors, psychiatrists, the medical medical industrial complex, and they let the kids take take you know let these doctors put these kids on serotonin reuptake inhibitors, and basically pretty hardcore drugs. um, you know, these kids, that's in these cases where a lot of these kids who realize that they've been lied to on that level, they develop a lot of resentment and could end up in, basically acting out in violence, and, bringing getting a hold of a gun and bringing a gun to school. And so these are the things that we try to prevent in MGTOW. And, I've been working on a lot of my artwork lately. You know what I mean? I don't know if you remember, but I was working on this comic book right here. And, I was sketching out I got another page starting to be sketched out right here. It continues from this opening scene. It's pretty cool where, you see a submarine and someone or something swimming up from it. And then you see inside, the inside of the sub. I'm just now fleshing all that out. And then you see this guy in the air, with tracer rounds, basically, flying, just missing him as he's like flying over this boat down in the ocean. It's pretty tight. And then, of course, the one that's in the water, the aquatic guy who has the aquatic armor, comes up out of the water behind the guy manning the machine, whatever it is, 50 cal, 60 cal machine gun or whatever. And then this guy, where is it? He hears the splash behind him. He starts trying to get around to shoot behind him, and you see a bullet hits him in the head right there. And then as he's falling, you see another bullet cuts his fingers off. Just stuff like that. I'm having fun drawing, sketching. I might even do a little sketching while I'm talking here. So thanks, American Viking. Yeah. And, one of the things I wanted to talk about is these issues that we talk about in MGTOW, they stretch far beyond just family and children. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, they affect all your dreams. A lot of MGTOW have dreams, like maybe being an artist or something. And you have to deal with the fact that it's not just relationships that you're going to have to downsize. You're going to have to really humble yourself and understand that all the ladders of upward mobility are rigged now, and that basic's even as skilled as I am, like, here's the main character, Nutjob. He's got the land armor. He uses basically, like crazy motorcycles with Gatling guns, and huge, huge treaded wheels on them. This is the air guy. This is the aquatic guy. And they build everything together, but he basically engineers everything because he's an engineer, and he's motivated by his children. Of course, if you've watched my earlier videos, were taken away from him by his wife, who turned to the dark side, so to speak, and set him up. So he just kills everybody. I think I'm going to do a scene where him and his friends go to a family court and just grab a judge or waste a judge or something like that. But anyway, so my point is you have to understand that that it's not like it was necessarily when maybe people grew up in the 40s and 50s and 60s, like my father. Yeah, right. Right, American Viking. Hey, Lou. Yeah, it's not See, a lot of the baby boomers that are MGTOW, and I'm not one of them. I'm close. I'm about 5 year. I'm like a late Gen Xer. Uh, or no, I'm not late. I was born in '71, so I'm like right in there. I'm like basically the uh, epitome of a Gen Xer, right? So, and I grew up with a city and a country kind of point of view, because my father, who was a country bumpkin, married a city girl. My mother, who, as much as I talk smack about her and to her and to my father about her, I respect the fact that even though she treats my father like a mule, or treats him like it talks to him like he's a dog, she's never. My mother wasn't a whore. I'm one of these. Uh, um, I'm one of the very few who's lucky my mother wasn't a whore and she didn't leave my father and start whoring around. Okay, so she's never, and got restraining orders on him and got his guns taken away and all this stuff. She's never done that to my father, but. Yeah, basically, yeah, I, I kind of forgot what exactly I was talking about. My main point, though, is basically that um, you're going to have to realize in life that that basically no matter, or all ladders of upward mobility now are kind of are gynocentric, or if you have to heavily, I think, like almost the more heavily you buy into the agenda, the more likely that, yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. And it's not just Hollywood; it's entertainment in general. Like even the comic book industry, I believe that it's kind of controlled across the board to where, even young uh, talent. You're going to meet talented people like me that for some reason they can't catch that break. You know what I mean? And the baby boomers, like I was saying, uh, they they my father being a baby boomer, and my parents and me being a Gen Xer, they were able. It was more based on merit. You know what I mean? When they were young, and they've already basically, a lot of them have already achieved a lot of the goals that they wanted to achieve in life, and now they're kind of going to tell you this whole thing about improve yourself in MGTOW. It's not as simple as that anymore. Like, it's save your ass now. It's not even improve yourself. It's like save your ass. It's cover your ass. You know what I mean? Me, stoner, me, no. So, but you really got to cover. It's basically now live as just, it's like there's, stay out of all the traps. I'm not saying you can't be happy, because um, you can achieve happiness. You know what I mean? It's just in fulfillment. But I believe that you're going to have to down. You're going to have to lower your goals. You're going to have to start. We have to shoot lower, because we're not up against challenges now as so much as we're up against impossibilities, right, within the system. Because the school, you can't tell me that it's all a filter. These public schools and the courts and that the rich are using to control us all and rob us all, basically now. It's all a filter, and trust me, they're filtering out all the undesirables. And it starts in the public schools, and another thing that I kind of wanted to talk about was, and this is a whole nother video, but this whole thing about uh I'll give you an example. Okay, like I was watching this Christian girl recently, not lately, recently, that did an incel video, and she made a very, very, very good point. And this is what leads you to hunt jackalope, right? This is one of the contributing factors to why you're hunting jackalope, why you're hunting snipe. She made a very good point that basically um, uh, when she was young, she went to a very strict Christian church, and and the youth ministers at that church all pretty much told all the girls that all the men were dogs, right? Oh, boys are dogs. All they care about is sex. While out of the other side of their mouths telling them, and you got to look for, a lot, like people, you got like this is where you got to ask questions, which is what got me in trouble a lot when I was a kid. I'd be like, well, you just said this before, well, now you're saying this, and it'd be like, Stuart, go to the principal. But because I was the one that I would ask hard questions, right? Because my father, I don't know, I took after my father, and and I was, which made me a fairly logical thinker. And but what she said was she would tell all these, or not she, what she said is these youth pastors tell all the young girls that that boys are dogs, and all they care about is sex, and you got to watch out. Then while they simultaneously tell them that they have to marry one of these dogs, and they have to 100% submit to them. I mean, way to discourage girls from wanting to get married, their youth pastors. So they think that their entire motivation is sex. And, when a lot of these younger boys do start getting interested in girls, and depending on the level of blue pill, a lot of their motivation can be about sex. But, even a lot of hardcore blue pillars still like sports and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? They're not completely, and work, and you know what I mean, and work jobs and stuff. They're not 100% motivated by sex. And a lot of that, as you get older and after you've had sex a few times, and you realize it's not, it's cool. You know what I mean? Especially if you're with a really, a girl that is, really, that fits, that, you know what I mean, that just makes you click, you know what I mean, that you click with. Yeah, of course. But it's not everything, you know what I mean. And boys mature, and especially when babies start getting popped out, you know what I mean, they got to start going to work. So my point being is, these pastors are creating they're creating the animosity between the sexes, and then wondering, oh, why aren't anybody getting married? Well, geez, why do you think? So, and that goes along with a lot of the programming that, yeah, I've dated a black woman before, and my nephew has a kid with a black girl, actually. Yeah, and I've had a couple of one of my best friends is black, since high school. So yeah, he's written a book. Um, uh, Man, shame on me that I can't remember the title right now. I have it here though. I have his book here. I'll showcase this book one of these days. It's basically about it's a good book. It talks about the public school, the education system. It's really anti-liberal. I'll just let you know that. And if you're if you're liberal and you watch me, you must be an awesome liberal. If you're like a fan of me and you're a liberal, I can see like a conservative being a fan of me, but it's hard for me to see any liberals tuning into while I mansplain these things. And so, this is how the system keeps that proverbial carrot on a stick, and you. But meanwhile, the entire system is a scam now, and I think it didn't used to be this way, and so you're constantly striving and working for these things that are not a reality anymore, for very few people. And those people, I believe, are hand selected, they're groomed, they're chosen. I believe that in entertainment they use fake names a lot, and stage names, so that you won't know what families a lot of these actors that you like are related to, because then you would be like, oh, it's, it's that rich family that we don't like, and you wouldn't go watch their movies. You know what I mean? But or whatever. I know they're hiding something, and I know there's nepotism, and I know that they're not letting all the people that have gotten a lot of money and that can control the gatekeepers aren't just letting anybody into the upper echelons of society. You know what I mean? Just because they're talented. That because then that would basically there would be no reason for a lot of men to be MGTOW. You know what I mean? Like, we wouldn't see all the there would be generally more people doing doing things that they wanted to do, but not everybody also can be, you know, I've also realized that this calling, that this what I'm doing right here is way more important than this. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is cool and everything, but this is for me. This satisfies me. So I put this aside happily, because what I'm doing right now is way more important. This is reality. This is affecting the reality that we live in. It's good to see everybody in here. MGTOW Live. I've subbed to your channel, MGTOW Live. I watch your videos. I try to I try to watch more American videos a lot than I do European videos, but it's hard to find but it's like European. I hate to say it, but it seems like Europeans are more educated than Americans. Like, I'll tell you what, man. 8 times out of 10, when I'm looking up a tutorial for something, it's like on YouTube. It's like Americans can't even. They're so goddamn retarded. They can't even make tutorials. I got to find a British guy. Or an Irish, or a Scot, somebody over in the UK. It's like, not only do your accents make you sound smarter, it's like, I think you guys are smarter because you're like more educated or something. Are you from Australia? Yeah. It's like, I feel like the education system here is just got, like, people are just, they don't even live in reality. And they're drugged. They're like heavily drugged. I don't know what it is, man. I don't know. Maybe there's more history there and more wisdom in your upbringing than there is here. Whatever it is, like, Americans can't make a damn tutorial. It's shit here too. Yeah, the grass isn't greener, huh? That's why I don't try to move. Like, oh, I'm moving out of America. Why? To go where? To go where? And plus, our government's made everybody basically hate us. So it's like, forget about it. You know what I mean? It's like, forget about it. Or if I go somewhere, people just want to kill me because I'm an American. I don't know. I could probably fall. I mean, the chances would be higher. Like, especially in a third world country. It's like, nobody's gonna look. I'm gonna have a hard time. Maybe visiting might be fun, but running away with no money to a third world country, yeah, like, good luck with that. It's not gonna be easy on you. Brainwashing goes deep here in the U.S. It sure does, Lou Monty. I know you, Lou. What's up? It's good to see you, man. I know you're ex-military. Check out, this is my concealed carry piece, Lou. Wow, I got the tension on that pretty tight. I have to loosen that up, man, or I'm gonna pull my holster and my gun out, and be like, ooh, can't pull the trigger. So anyway, yeah, this is my concealed carry piece right here. It's the Smith & Wesson, the M&P Shield. Basically, yeah, it's a tight little gun, and I did some modifications to it. I changed the trigger, you know what I mean? I put in the metal back plate and stuff like that in there, and put the pinky grip on there. So it's a decent gun now. And trust me, man, this thing, man, you know, it's pretty, doesn't jam. My friend bought the he wanted a 45, so like, so he bought the um I'm trying to think what it is there. The one that's machine cut in the Philippines, and oh man, they make stuff for the military. They used to make, they made they made parts for my, you know, my father's M60 in the military there. I can't remember their name now, man. I'll some other I could look it up, but I don't feel like it. You know, but basically, yeah, like he it's all metal frame and everything, you know. And I was like, oh, that's awesome, 45, awesome. I love 45, but you know, the thing jams on him, jams, like, you know, which, you know, it's not. I still don't. It's not like I would still want to be, you know, be in front of a gun hoping that it'll jam, but also, you know, you don't want to you don't want your concealed carry piece jamming on you all the time. What the heck is the name of that company, man? Rock Island. That's what it is. My friend bought the Rock Island 45. I couldn't remember the name of it, man. And I was like, that's so awesome. And jam. He tried to polish all the parts, like on the inside, you know, on the inside of the action and all this stuff. You know what I mean? Polish the barrel, polish the inside of the slot, the action and all that stuff. He tried, you know what I mean? But the thing is it's a 19, you know, it's a 1911 or whatever, you know what I mean? Which is awesome, man. You know what I mean? You're you know, if you're if you're like, you know, if I'll tell you this right now, if you're gonna get in a shootout, like, you know, like old school, like olden days, you want a 1911, man. You know why? Because it's got, like, you can have the safety off and it's still got the grip safety. You know what I'm saying? So so safety off, pow. You know what I mean? Fucking pow pow pow. Basically, you know, a lot of people like see this, no safety. This gun right here, no safety. Who needs a safety, right? and that takes that takes some balls to carry a concealed carry with no safety. But I would never. But at the same time, I'm a very boring individual, so I'm not, the likelihood of me ever using this is basically nil. Now, if I broke down in a really dangerous neighborhood, you understand what I'm saying? Then, so what I'm trying to tell you is I would never have one in the pipe. You know what I mean? I would never have one chambered, right? Unless, you know, I would have this in it. You know what I'm saying? A dummy bullet. Unless I broke down in a super dangerous neighborhood, then you know what I mean? Then I would chamber around and put it in my holster, and then there's no safety, just pop 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 pop, and then you better keep your finger off the trigger. But it's got like a 6-pound trigger too. It's not a hair trigger. I don't really need a hair trigger, you know. So 1911 bullet is so slow you can see it exiting the barrel. I don't know about that, but yeah, 45s are better stopping power. I mean, but you know, if you put 3 or 4 9mm in somebody, and you can read, if you really want to, you know, if you're going to concealed carry for protection, I would suggest that you read up on a lot of these, like like these guys that were Texas Rangers that actually got in a lot of gunfights, and they'll tell you all the problems that you can get into. I mean, because it's one thing to go to the range and be like, yeah, pow, 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 pow. You know what I mean? Like, and then it's another thing to get into a gunfight with somebody. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so if you're gonna, you know, if you want to be Clint Eastwood, I would suggest that you read up on some of these actual, these guys that were actually in the Texas Ranger that got in a lot of gunfights and wrote books about it. Just for your own safety, you know what I mean? So you don't shoot yourself in the leg, you know what I mean? Or the foot or in the groin or something when you're trying to, do whatever it is that you do. 1911s are very safe for that type of stuff. I don't have a 1911 though. I could, the one that I wanted, I couldn't afford. I'll get it eventually, or they'll come out with a really good one and I'll get it eventually. What's everybody up to this evening? Man, you got the highway. It's highway time. America is the best place. Yeah, it's still. Listen, America is still one of the best countries in the world, as much as I complain about it, and that's that's hopeful, I guess. And you're still, chances of not hunting snipe are better in this country than probably in a lot of other countries. I don't know. It depends. Like if you were in a really, way out in the jungle somewhere and family's your goal, you're probably going to have a family even now, but, as far as achieving your goals, I mean, good luck, man. Good luck on that. And don't be obsessed with your goals, don't struggle. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you're struggling, then you're doing something wrong. Don't struggle. I used to kind of struggle and get upset and, and get caught up in my head and my thoughts. And you got to be careful not to do all that. You got to live in the moment. You know what I mean? You got to live in the moment and take care of here and now. Here and now is what's important. And trying to contribute, we might not be able to, like the MRAs, turn all the courts around and turn everything around, but we can in our little ways contribute and try to make things better, like by doing the more MGTOW videos, the better. Like Pastor Dab said in one of the comments, we were talking on MGTOW Vikings video, he said, flood the gates. And that he's right. Flood the gates. The more MGTOW videos, the better, everybody. Flood the gates, man. Just put all the men, just put up MGTOW videos. I don't care if you diss women or you talk about the courts or whatever. And an American Viking, you're right. Don't contribute to someone unless I think unless they're super transparent, like Hammerhand. All you guys like, oh, he paid his hospital. Well, show everything. Just show everything. You know what I mean? Like if I was taking people's money, I would show everything. I would show, the account, what went in and what's in there and what goes out. I would show everybody everything. And if you're in like a lot of these people who do ask for donations, say if it's your last dime or your last $5, don't send it. Keep it in your pocket. If you got money and you like somebody and you're like, this guy's got potential, like me, if I would sit around and do comic books, I'd probably get rich. I would probably, if I could just sit around and make MGTOW content and draw all day and hang out with my dog and go shooting and stuff and hunting, the vast majority of my time I would actually be producing comic books. And then I would just go print them myself and sell them. My problem is I don't have enough time and I don't have money to hire people to have them help me with the process. So I have to do everything myself and pay bills, which is ridiculous. But I'm just saying, like, if you see someone with potential, back them up if you got money, especially if you think they're going to put out MGTOW content, because art and culture is very important. I mean, that's what the media is using. That's what entertainment's using. That's what Hollywood has used to do all this stuff to us. So it stands to reason that if you invent your own culture and your own artwork and everything, then you start attracting everyone to your fold, you know. Better Bachelor. Yeah, Better Bachelor. I was gonna do some shout outs today to some of the people I've been watching too, like MGTOW Live being one of them. You know, go sub to MGTOW Live. Go sub to American Viking. Go sub to Pastor Dab. Pastor Dab is suspended right now. You know, I mean, I have to admit there. You know, a lot of the MGTOW, the manosphere is either drama or it's foreign now, and I can't understand it, or not foreign as in like English, foreign as in like, and I'm like, oh man, you know, or it's like a total another language, you know what I mean? But fucking basically, you know, yeah. So when I run into a really good content creator, it's like, oh, thank God, you know, and maybe they won't create good content forever, but I can at least follow them for a while. You know what I'm saying? Pastor Dab. You know what I'm saying? Fist pump. No, I hear you, man. Yep. I'm telling you, man. MGTOW, I mean, you can't tell me. I mean, Texas is, that's more incel. I think the scary thing is incel might be getting more popular than MGTOW, and then incels being used to just call any guy who can't get a girlfriend, which once again, they create the animosity. And then blame all the young men when they can't find girlfriends. And then now they're going to call them terrorists, like in New York. The government or the military warned of an incel uprising, the beta uprising in Texas. But, you know, it's incredible, which is all it's all these factors that we talk about that keep men hunting for these things that just don't exist anymore. So you really have to kind of downsize you gotta, unless you want to walk around disappointed all the time, we either have to get together and create our own culture for all these musicians and artists and everything to get control and level the playing field, and stop trying to so that children growing up see another alternative besides everything gay is cool, homos are cool, trannies are cool, everybody's cool except the white male. He's always the bad guy, or the man anyway is always, you know. So and women are always, you know, unless we can kind of get a hold, which I thought Comicsgate was going to do. See, it's weird. Like I feel like the enemy's always a step ahead of us, because like 10 steps ahead of us. That's why we've got to be sharp. You know, the enemy is always 10 steps ahead of us. I'll tell you, because they're more. It's like evil people are more driven than good people, and I think it's hard to explain. Like they'll go to greater lengths, it seems, than a lot of the good guys. But Comicsgate, I thought, was going to put an end to all that, and then you look at a lot of the comic books coming out in Comicsgate, and it's female leads, and it's evil is good, it's evil is cute again, and all this stuff. You know, nothing like a guy like this. You know, you won't find a comic book with Nutjob, a father who's been wronged by the courts and had everything taken away from him. So now he's got a reason to basically rebel against the courts and the police and everything. To rebel against the Matrix. You won't see that. They're still keeping the same brainless, just new, you know, big boobs and basically cute evil, like it's hard to explain. Like as much as I've always been a fan of a lot of the darker anti-heroes, they use that as a way to portray evil as being cute and good. You understand what I mean? Like Spawn's a demon from hell and all this stuff, and you know what I mean? And see, which is why I used to like characters like Thor. Thor, speaking of, like American Viking, talks about Valhalla and Midgard and all that. Thor is a good example of a totally upright being, a male. Captain America they kind of screwed him over too, but you know what I mean? There were these kind of upright, kind of leader type Conan, strong male figures that we used to have that showed the opposite of the toxic side of masculinity. Yeah, my YouTube channel is somehow still alive. So I'm glad that we could have this chat, and it's 40 minutes. I don't need to be on here all night. I believe I got my point across that we're hunting jackalope, we're hunting snipe, and that you got to kind of, it's more of now a challenge of keeping your money in your pocket, staying safe, staying with people that are safe, and basically kind of, you're almost like you're downsizing now, but that doesn't mean don't do things in the direction of the goals that you have, though. Do you understand what I'm saying? It means don't be obsessed with it. You have to be you have to be very comfortable with the idea that these things never happen, so that you don't frustrate yourself in this. And it's not your fault. There's no reason to beat yourself up over it. The way around it is for people like us to get together and help each other. Like I said, a rising tide raises all ships. And otherwise, you're going to be doing this by yourself now. These days, you're going to be out there hunting jackalope. So now you know how to hunt jackalope, fellas. And stay MGTOW, over and out.